a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
All right, another great day here in Tampa Bay, helping you win in any marketplace. We're blessed and highly favored here around the Consumer Quarterback Show. We got a great lineup for you today, as always. Attorney Frank Miranda going to be on the program. I'm going to ask him about landlord-tenant law and get into some of the specifics around different leases. There's it's a big rental environment right now and a lot of leasing going on. I'm going to ask him what's more favorable, landlord or tenant, or what he's seeing. Is it favoring more of the landlord or tenant? Michael Johnson as well. Dennison Yachting. He's got some great programs here in Tampa Bay. If you want to get on the water, 10 ways to get on the water fast with Michael Johnson. Dennison Yachting. Tom Rydberg as well, DK Mortgage, our expert contributor in the place of all things finance, mortgage, and getting that mortgage in place for your purchase. And we'll talk about residential, of course, investor opportunities. Also, this idea of dual agency. When you have a lot of times people will call in, they'll say, "Hey, I want to talk directly to the listing agent, make the offer directly through that listing agent." What's the benefits there? What's the things to look out for? We're going to dive deep into that for you as well. And I want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at Replenish IV Solutions, longtime friends of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Replenish IV Solutions here in Tampa Bay. Say hello to Stephen and Lisa Gunnan. Let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. ReplenishIVSolutions.com. ReplenishIVSolutions.com. And we always like to feature our real estate listings live on air. Strategy is more exposure, helping our sellers sell faster for more money. Vacant land, residential, and commercial properties. We can help you profit more and sell faster. We got a couple of hot new listings here in Tampa Bay. This one's 861 Mandalay Avenue, Clearwater Beach. Mandalay is a $1 million listing on the north side of the beach. Beautiful, beautiful property here in Tampa Bay on that north side of the beach. Got a lot of celebrities living in that neighborhood, by the way. I think Hulk Hogan still lives over there, founder of Spanx and some of those others. 2 bedrooms, 2 bath, Mandalay Avenue, beautiful property, completely renovated, updated countertops, quartz countertops, gorgeous flooring, stainless steel appliances, 900 square foot screened-in covered patio. And you're just literally steps from the sugar sand beaches and dolphin-filled waters of Clearwater Beach. Great opportunity to own real estate here in Tampa Bay. Farmingdale Lane in Newport Richey, 1050 Farmingdale Lane is another one of our listings from Roxanne on our team. This is a great opportunity to own a property at 4 bedrooms, 3 bath, 3-car garage, pool home, 2217 square foot corner lot location, black marble countertops, white cabinetry. You have a modern elegance of a white porcelain tile flooring throughout the home. Black marble tile fireplace adds a luxurious feel and a focal point to the living room. Check out Farmingdale Lane online at PlatinumCoastalElite.com. You can see all of our listings, PlatinumCoastalElite.com. All right, we got Tom Rydberg in the house. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Good to be back. How are you?
Excellent. Yep, things are good. Things are good. Blessed and highly favored.
Yeah.
Working hard and, getting it done.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a good time of the year, a little quieter and, with less tourism and stuff. Get my afternoon thunderstorm.
Yeah, got some rain finally.
Yeah, exactly. It's good.
We need it. We need the rain. I like it. What's the country song? Rain makes corn, corn makes whiskey.
Yes.
But yeah, we've been missing some rain. We need it around here so
badly.
Let's jump right into it, man. I got a clip I want to play. It's kind of interesting to talk about because when you think about these, what's the economics behind the play? What the housing environment, the inventory levels, right? What's the economics behind it? What is the antithesis of this? But it's interesting because I want to talk about this clip here: mass migration and the economics behind it.
So, Cabot, some surprising new data coming out. Tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, so we talked on the show about the population boom in southern states at the expense of those in the Northeast and West. And now we're seeing another mass migration, this one financial. After centuries of dominating the nation's economy, the Northeast, from D.C. up to Philadelphia, New York, and Boston, is no longer the largest economic contributor. That mantle now belongs to the South. According to a new Bloomberg report, this year, for the first time on record, southern states account for a higher percentage of the country's GDP than those in the Northeast. 6 states in particular, though, are really driving the trend. We'll call them the Southern Six: Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Texas, and the Carolinas.
So a huge shift with wide-reaching implications. When did this start?
Well, from a population standpoint, the trend towards the South has been decades in the making. In 1950, for example, 28% of the country lived in the Northeast, while just 16% lived in the South. By the mid-90s, that 12-point discrepancy had disappeared, and by last year, 26% of Americans lived in the South, compared to 19% in the Northeast. So a flip had occurred over the last few decades. Now, historically, though, those transplants were overwhelmingly retirees, fleeing the North in search of warmer weather. But now the migration includes Americans of all ages, and more importantly, it includes a seemingly endless stream of businesses.
Your take on that, Tom?
Well, I'm living it. I mean, my daughters are 21, 23, and 25. Two of them, they started their careers in Tampa, and they love it. And that was always a little bit of the knock for businesses was, employees, young professionals. And now it's a cool place to be. I mean, people want to be in St. Pete. They want to be in Tampa. The one on there that I think it's come full circle. I feel like Atlanta back 25, 30 years ago kind of started that cool trend to the South from a business standpoint. And then it kind of died off. And then all of a sudden I'm getting a lot more interest in Georgia just as a state.
Yeah.
So, which makes sense because Tennessee's been booming and so is Florida. So Georgia says, hey, let's join the party.
Yeah.
The other thing that's interesting about that is I think it's a lot of people that are moving to the South, year round, but then also there's so many tax advantages for corporations. Even if a lot of their business is physically still in the Northeast.
Right.
They're saying that the companies in the South to benefit from the headquarters. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and that, like we've talked about the big cruise ship scenario, cruise ships take a long time to turn around. That trend is not going to shift anytime soon. I think it's just going to pick up speed.
Yeah. It's interesting. One of my friends on social media, Audra, she did one of these posts. You see these kind of maps of Florida. It'll have like the Space Coast has the ships, the planes the ships that go out of space. I can't think of the name.
The rockets.
Yeah. And then it has like orange groves in the middle of the state, and it'll have flamingos down by Miami, right? One of those picture graph type thing. And it says, "We full." No more traffic.
Yeah, exactly.
We're full here. But it's interesting. So we're talking with Tom Rydberg here, DK Mortgage on the Consumer Quarterback Show. So the mass migration, what happens with that. And so you said you had, you wanted to talk a little bit about dual agency as well.
Yeah, I wanted to pick your brain on that. So I had an interesting call from a client last weekend. I guess it was Friday, late Friday. Said, hey, I'm under contract and I need some help with financing. I'm like, okay. And it was a referral from a realtor I work with. So I just assumed she was the realtor on the buy. Well, it ends up she wasn't. She's listing the house, but this particular person decided to contact the listing agent directly. And I think the logic behind it was that he was going to save money by going directly with them. Right. I don't think what he realized is that listing agent has a responsibility to the seller. And I don't know if it's equal responsibility or do they have more responsibility to the seller? How does that work?
Well, so it depends. Like what happens is if you have a situation where you're representing both sides of the transaction, what happens is you transition at that point to what they call a transaction broker. So you're working not to the detriment of either party, but you're working for the transaction to close. So essentially, hey, the buyer says a number, okay, you relay that to the seller. The seller says, okay, well, this is the number that I'll take, and then you relay that back, and
sure.
So you're
in theory that's how it's supposed to work.
Yeah, in theory that's how it's supposed to work. But then you get into commissions.
Well, exactly. So this is just, there's many red flags that went off. But so the guy goes under contract, has his inspection, and I'm explaining to him how he wants to negotiate post-inspection. I said, well, you're trying to put a little bit of money down, get a credit towards your closing costs. That's going to minimize what you need to bring to closing. Yeah. Whatever. He doesn't listen. 2 days later, he's got, and I still haven't seen the contract yet, but he comes back and says, hey, we got a $30,000 concession for the roof. Okay, well, you can't have a $30,000 concession for a roof. You could have a holdback for the roof, but that's completely a separate scenario and a lot more headaches to deal with. your seller concession can only be 3% of the purchase price, which was going to be like $21,000.
Yeah.
So you're going to lose the additional money. And so we did a conference call. That's when I found out it was a dual agent. And she's like, well, you wrote this contract for cash. There's not even a financing contingency.
Wow.
And said, because they had another potential offer, so she says, he dropped his contingency. I'm like, well, you've put yourself in a really bad spot here.
Yeah.
And you signed this contract June 21st.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're past your deadlines.
Wow.
And now, I'll do what I can to help you, but at a minimum, you're going to lose this $8,000.
Wow.
So it's just another, I think people tend to underestimate the value of a good realtor.
Yeah.
Right. And
exactly.
There are some maybe not so good ones, but if you have a good one, use them, pick their brain, don't make any assumptions.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Don't make the assumptions.
And like you'll get clients who have a scenario, and maybe you're not going to be directly involved. You're still going to answer their questions and point them in the right direction.
Right.
I mean, I have clients that have mortgage advice all the time, and they may be already working with another lender or whatever the circumstances. I'm still going to give them advice, and don't guess. I guess is the lesson there.
Yeah, take the guessing game out of it, because those guessing games and those assumptions can cost you a lot of money.
A lot of money.
Yeah, they sure can. We're talking with Tom Rydberg here, Draper and Kramer Mortgage Corporation. Tom Rydberg on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Residential lending here in Tampa Bay, and of course, other areas as well. You do out-of-state stuff
all
too?
All over the country.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, I think, a big advantage we have, whether you're buying or refinancing in Florida or another state. We can kind of leverage different real estate you might have out of state, or a lot of people, like, they're buying summer homes in the Georgia mountains. They want to get a little getaway, and they have real estate here. Gives us a couple different options on how to structure it.
That's a good idea. Get a little Airbnb up there.
Yeah.
I like that idea. So some of the other things we talk about too when we get into the financing side is people that are renting. They're putting a lot of money in their landlord's pocket every month, and the rates have crept up a little bit. They're still reasonable. These rates are still reasonable. Yeah. So I just really like to beat that drum on get into home ownership. A lot of people don't realize you don't have to put 20% down. I mean, there's ways to get into homes, getting creative, seller concessions, lots of ways realtors can actually rebate money back to as well to help. There's a lot of ways.
And even if you think, again, for me, it's always, if you know this is where you want to be, or you're relatively certain, then get into something, because in 10 years, you're not going to remember, whether that price was $10,000 higher or lower is going to be kind of irrelevant.
Right.
The interest rate, you're probably not going to have this rate 10 years from now either, because you're going to refinance. I mean, the numbers still have to work for you. So I'm not a big proponent of, hey, we have to buy out of desperation. Yep. But if the numbers work and, you can afford it, then yes, I definitely think it's better to buy now than wait.
Yeah. Exactly.
And in fact, I just heard something on the radio. There's 5 main companies that track real estate values. Could be Zillow, Realtor Association, and all 5 of these have come to the conclusion we are back to the all-time highs we saw last year. So all those people that thought we were going to have this big crash,
highs what rates?
High prices.
Prices.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So my point is that people that want to wait because they think there's some collapse that's coming or a better opportunity, I don't see it happening.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Exactly. And again, over the course of a long period of time, you're going to see peaks and valleys anyways.
Yep.
So yes, lots of opportunities for people that maybe are unsure. They don't think they have an option. Call. We'll put you on a plan and put you in a position. If we can't help you get into something right now, or you're still struggling with knowing that this is the right place, we'll put you on a plan so that when you do make that decision, we have all of our ducks in a row.
Yeah, consumerqb.com or 727-263-3707. Call or text 727-263-3707. Thank you so much for everybody who reached out last week as well. Had an uptick in calls lately. Now, when you think about the renting side, maybe some people have a couple marks on their credit. I know sometimes lenders now, you're empowered to be able to do these different types of rapid rescores, things like that. That's something that shouldn't be a barrier as well.
Yeah. So credit is usually the most important component of an approval, because it's going to get you the best rate. But even if you don't have the best credit score, you have a couple of things. There are things you can do, and that's why we always say start early and plan ahead. So if you know your lease is going to be up and you want to move in December, don't wait till November to go get pre-approved. You might be able to, if you start today, you're going to have 4 or 5 months to work on. Maybe it could be credit card balances. Maybe it's shifting around a certain debt that you co-signed for a family member, or maybe it's an old medical bill with some of the new laws that are out there as far as credit agencies paying those medical collections. Not only get rid of the mark against you, but they'll delete it from your report completely.
Yeah.
And that can make a huge difference. So like it never happened. And it's, I've seen plenty of clients whose scores have gone up, 100 points in a matter of a couple of weeks based on just a couple of accounts getting, corrected.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot you can do, and there's less barriers to entry than a lot of times you think. So we'd love to talk to you about that. Let's take a quick break. More with Tom Rydberg here coming up on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Follow us online as well. We'd love to connect with you. Our YouTube channel has over 2,000 videos. I think it's close to 2,300 videos now on our YouTube channel, Brandon Rhymes Realty, at Brandon Rhymes 1, at CQB Show. And we'll be right back. More with Tom Rydberg, DK Mortgage, on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
All right, we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show in studio. Tom Rydberg, Consumer Quarterback Show here, helping you win in any marketplace, as we say. A couple of listings here. I got a $13 million property listing in Orlando. This one's Pebble Creek. Vacant land, so development opportunity. Attention builders, developers, entrepreneurs. Great opportunity here in Orlando. It's 10 minutes from Disney, downtown, Universal Studios, SeaWorld, etc. The 100 acres is a prime development opportunity. Excellent location for a short-term rental community. Pebble Creek Court, Four Corners, Florida, Orange, Osceola County. I think about 46 acres or so of that is land that can be developed. You can see all of our listings, PlatinumCoastalElite.com.
Buy dirt, find one you can't live without.
All right, we got Tom in studio. Tom, we're just talking a little bit about this some of the latest statistics, Bureau of Labor statistics coming in here. Consumer Price Index for all urban consumers rose 0.1% in May on a seasonally adjusted basis after increasing 0.4% in April. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reported today over the last 12 months, all items index increased 4% to before seasonally adjustment. But what's your thoughts around that?
Well, that's kind of what everyone's been waiting for. So you had, they look at 12-month rolling average, and they've known that some of the peak numbers were last July. In fact, the reports that are coming out this week, they're going to replace last July's, which were very high. I want to say they stand out as by far the highest monthly inflation reading we had. I think it was 1.2, which annualized is like 14%. So when that drops off, you're going to see inflation numbers come down. Now it's just going to be, is it down enough that it makes people feel more comfortable? But then the following month, it was actually very low. So it's kind of you had a very high month and then a very low. So, but I think the next 2 months you should still continue to see that level off and drop. Hopefully get closer to the 2% mandate that the Fed's looking for. And then, unfortunately, the jobs report that came out last Friday was just super hot. I mean, the one last Wednesday through ADP we talked about was like triple what everyone expected. So people are kind of rolling their eyes a little bit, and we've talked about how accurate are some of these reports. But that really kind of gave the impression everyone that the Fed they paused last month. They're going to increase again next month. Now the hope is that that's the last increase, but time will tell.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, a lot of people hope that it is the last increase. I mean, if you think about the economic driver that's behind real estate, people, the refinance market is pretty much dried up, right? I mean, it's very, few and far between people that want to refi. But that purchase market as well. People want to trade. They want to trade equity. They want to trade house for closer to the beach or closer to the grandkids. But they're limiting what's happening in that position. But
it's an interesting point. Real quick, so you have clients that they don't want to give up their really low rate they have, but they have been hit with a lot of debt.
Yeah.
And they can actually move up to a bigger house that fits their needs. And we can show them how using that equity to pay off the debt, even though they're going to have a higher interest rate, their overall debt load is lower than what it is now
right.
to get the house they want. So again, it's better to just do a quick review. If
Yeah.
someone's thinking about that, they can reach out to you or me directly, and we'll run some numbers. They might be surprised. It puts their family in a better position, and they get the house they want, and they can refinance maybe a year or two down the road when rates come down.
Yeah, because it's all about that overall household interest rate.
Right, absolutely. Yeah.
Household interest rate. 727-263-3707. Online at consumerqb.com. 727-263-3707. And we'll put you in touch with Tom Rydberg, DK Mortgage, longtime friend of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Tom, your email, I believe, is closefaster.
Closefaster@gmail.com.
There you go. Direct email to Tom is closefaster@gmail.com, and can do that rent versus own. He can do that kind of a credit score overview as well for you.
Yeah, lots of options.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, Tom, thanks for coming in,
Yeah,
man.
good seeing you.
Appreciate you. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We've got attorney Frank Miranda in studio, FCM law, landlord-tenant law. I want to ask about specific performance as well. This is where one party says, hey, I'm not going to close. I changed my mind. Well, it might be too late. We'll talk with him, attorney Frank Miranda here in Tampa Bay. He's a litigator, and he can talk about that. We'll be right back. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. Please make sure to send him all of your real estate deals and subscribe to the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast on iTunes and Spotify, or check out our YouTube channel. Have a blessed day.